During the first wave of the COVID-19 global pandemic, the Czech Republic, a little Central European country best known for its beer, was widely lauded for its successful response. The first 3 cases in the country were reported on March 1st. By March 13th, the government had ordered a strict lockdown. At the height of that first wave, the 7-day average number of new cases per day peaked at just over 276. Cases, not deaths. By May, things seemed well in hand, and the lockdown restrictions began to be lifted. By May 26th, they were nearly all removed, and there was no exponential resurgence after restrictions were lifted. To understand exactly how significant this success was, it's useful to look at some similarly sized states. Michigan, North Carolina, and Ohio are each approximately the same population as the Czech Republic. It's not even possible to graph their experience without compressing the chart. As interesting as this type of chart may be, one thing we've learned over the previous 9 months is that they're not particularly useful. They're not good for comparing regions of different population sizes, they're not good for understanding policy impact, and converting them to logarithmic renders them basically unintelligible to most people. To remedy the first problem, we can adjust for population. For example, showing number of cases per 100,000 people rather than the raw number. But that still leaves us with the second problem. To get a handle on policy and impact, one thing we can look at is acceleration. You don't feel the difference if you're going 100 kilometers per hour in a car or 1,000 kilometers per hour in a plane. But you feel and understand the difference if someone steps on the accelerator or the brakes. We can apply this idea to looking at the COVID data. Instead of showing number of cases, we can show change in number of cases. When that increases, the local epidemic is accelerating. Things are getting worse, whether you had 100 cases per day or 1,000 cases per day. When it decreases, it shows that the brakes are being applied. The situation is improving for one reason or another. By combining these two ideas, we can look at how the whole European Union fared. For most of the summer, while the virus raged in the early open states in the US, the EU was under control. From June until the middle of August, the continent looked mostly like this. Most countries were staying flat, with a few minor accelerations in the vacation countries, France, Spain, and Croatia, which we see bouncing around on the right-hand side of the chart. On August 20th, then Health Minister Adam Wojciech announced some new minor restrictions to go into place effective September 1st, with the intent of prophylaxis against returning vacationers and the commencement of in-person schooling without masks. The recommendations didn't make it 24 hours before being overruled by the Prime Minister. Within a week, preliminary signs could be seen of acceleration in the Czech Republic, most likely from those returning vacationers. 2 weeks after the start of the school year, the epidemic was accelerating faster in the Czech Republic than anywhere else in Europe. Although some restrictions were put in place by September 10th, it was too little, too late. The numbers in this chart may seem small, fewer than 20 per day, but remember, this is acceleration, and it's per 100,000 population. Restrictions would be added over the coming weeks, but not only were they added piecemeal and too late, but because of this, and poor communication from the government, and doubtlessly other reasons, the population was not as quick to adhere to the requirements as it was in the spring. Within a month, the Czech Republic was not only the worst in Europe, but the worst in the world. From the start of the epidemic through the end of August, there were a total of 424 COVID deaths in the Czech Republic. Within a few more weeks, by November 5th, there would be 10 times that number. Thankfully, although there is a delay, we now know enough about the virus to know what works. Wearing masks in public, extreme social distancing, even closing schools and restaurants and gyms. In the case of the Czech Republic, although the delay may have been exacerbated by a reticent population, things did turn the corner. Over the last week of October, it became clear that the measures were working, that the brakes had been applied. The third health minister in as many months began to talk of easing restrictions, and the population was hopeful that, if perhaps not by Christmas, then by New Year, things would be back to a level similar to that achieved in the summer. The only question now is, will the government react strongly enough and the people respond diligently enough if this line ever crosses over zero again? There is very positive news in terms of a potential vaccine, but we are still many months away from that. We will need to continue with the hammer and the dance and quash outbreaks locally as soon as that first sign appears. But if we're diligent and trust the science, we can live a normal life until the vaccine gets here. The summertime showed it was possible. We can make it through this. And while I believe that's true, and I want to end on a point of optimism, there is one reason to still use that former style of graph, and that's to really impress upon everybody the severity of the situation. The Czech Republic spent weeks and weeks accelerating in the wrong direction. And while all signs are positive now, there's still a long way to go to get back to those summer levels. So stick to it, everybody.